शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay. So in the last session, if you remember, we were looking at the Pancha Mahabhuta Lingas that are there in Bharatadesha. So we had seen the first three. First was Jambukeshwara, then you had Kalahasti, third was Arunachaleshwara, and the fourth is now Ekambareshwara. Ekambareshwara is nothing but the Prithvi Lingam. Those who have missed the last class, please refer to the previous audio, only then you can relate to this. So two more are left. Ekambareshwara is the Prithvi Lingam, that is representing the earth element located in Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu. Now why it has been associated with earth is, here it seems that goddess Parvati, she comes here and she prepares the Shivalinga from mud, that is from earth. And here it seems that there is no Abhisheka that is done to the Shivalinga, otherwise mud will, you can say, it will not, if you add water to mud, the lingam will not live in, right? So therefore, that's how Abhishekam is not done to this lingam. Of course, today if you go around the Ekambareshwara temple, if anyone has visited, you will know that around the entire, you can say, Pariharam, that is there where we do the Pradakshina, you have Sahasra Lingas, right? There are a lot and lot of lingas all around. They are all proper Shiva lingas. And but the original lingam that was there, which was made by Devi Parvati, that was made out of earth. And you have the famous mango tree also in this linga, wherein it seems that even till date, those who have gone to Ekambareshwara temple in Kanchipuram, you know that there is a mango tree here inside this temple, almost close to 4,000 years old. And under this, you had the original Shivalingam, which is constructed by goddess Parvati. And it seems that this mango tree, it yields four different types of mangoes, it seems. It represents the four Vedas. So people, and it is said that the four different types of mangoes that come out, each of them they taste different, it seems. So that's how the same tree giving four different types of mangoes. Now these are all beliefs that are there. Now let us see in detail about Ekambareshwara. Okay. Okay. Now here there are two three names for this lord. Now even this name that is there, first is Ekambareshwara or Ekambara Nathar. Eka Ambara Nathar. That is now Ekambra, some references it says that that's a mango tree. So you have the mango tree or the lord under the mango tree. That's how you have this name Ekambareshwara. And the goddess is goddess Parvati. In this temple mainly you have lot of Nayanas. Nayanas are nothing but Shaivite saints. Like we have the Alvars. Similarly, Alvars are for Vaishnavism. Similarly, Nayanas, they are for Shaivism, saints of Shaivism. They have contributed a lot for this a temple, or through their works that is there. So through different devotional works or devotional prayers and songs in praise of Lord Shiva, you have these different songs that are composed, and the temple is known by all these works. And the temple came to be known because of the works that were composed in this place, or the Lord, or the Lord of this temple. Next is this temple. If you see, it is, if ever you have visited this temple, you have a very huge gopuram that is there, and the area is also very large. Especially now, even today, you go to South India, you can see the temples that are there, they have a lot of area, right? So even this Ekambareshwara temple is one of the largest temples of entire Bharatadesha. And again, as usual, it has got like the Arunachaleshwara temple, if you see, there were four gopurams, and then in again four smaller and four bigger. So in all eight. Here you have four gopurams, four big gopurams in all the four directions. The tallest is the southern gopuram. Southern gopuram is the tallest, and you have a lot of other small temples also, which are composed, which are there in the entire vicinity. So obviously now if you see, if the temple has got such a large area, you will have smaller shrines of different other deities also that is there. The most important festival that is celebrated in this temple is during the Panguni Masam. Panguni Masam is roughly, I think, March 15 to April 15. That is the time wherein you have now this Panguni Uttiram Nakshatram that comes in during the Panguni Masa. We have the Uttiram Nakshatram that comes. On that day, it is actually the wedding anniversary of many gods. So out of that, Shiva and Parvati have their wedding anniversary, or Skanda has his wedding anniversary, and so on. Like this, a lot of references for this Panguni Uttaram Day. You have the birth of Lord Shasta. So Lord Shiva especially has got a lot of significance during this Tamil month. And in many other temples of South India, especially in this Ekambareshwara temple, this festival, that is this Panguni Nakshatram, this day is celebrated a lot. Now, as per the story that goes in, now here again the major contributions are made by the Vijayanagara rulers. So the Vijayanagara kings were the main rulers who have contributed a lot to this Panchabhuta Sthalas and many temples in Dakshina Bharata. Now, as per legend, what happens is once Parvati, she had to she again, now if you see like the other stories of Panchabhuta Sthalas, we have Parvati and Shiva. Sometimes they get into some playful actions, or Parvati questions Shiva on certain things. Then she gets a sin, or she wants to attain more knowledge. So she comes down on earth and she does tapasya. Right? So similarly, here also again, goddess Parvati, she wanted to do tapasya under this mango tree near the Vegavati river. Now, what is the story behind Vegavati river? Vegavati is none but goddess Saraswati herself. So once it so happened that Brahma, he had to do a Ashwamedha sacrifice. Now Saraswati Devi, if you see, this story comes in the Puranas. Saraswati Devi, it seems that she used to be always busy. Now, she is a goddess of knowledge. She plays the veena. So she used to have a lot of concerts here and there. She used to go about in heaven and so on. So she used to never be available. Now to do a sacrifice, you always need a wife also, right? For only grihasthas are eligible to do sacrifices. So of course, sages and they all do. That's the reason why you see most of our sages, be it Vasishta and so on, they were all grihasthas, right? Because there are certain karmas which have to be performed by grihasthas alone, especially most of the sacrifices. So to do this Ashwamedha sacrifice, Brahma had to find consort. Saraswati was busy. So at that time he comes to this place, Kanchipuram, and he wanted to do this Ashwamedha sacrifice. Now Brahma had decided to do an Ashwamedha sacrifice 1,000 times. But practically it is very difficult, right? So therefore, people, it is said that in Kanjipuram, if you do one thing, if you do something once, the fruit is as if you have done that 1,000 times. So therefore, Brahma decides that let me come to Kanjipuram, let me do all the karma here. Once I do the Ashwamedha sacrifice here, it is equal as if I have done it 1,000 times. So he decides to come to this place and do. Saraswati was busy, so he ends up marrying Savitri Devi. Now Saraswati came to know this, and immediately, she's so angry, and it seems that her anger rushed about in such a way that it transformed into a river. That's how the name comes at Vegavati. Vegavati meaning that which flows. Especially like all of us also, when we are very angry, the tone and the speed that we speak automatically increases, right? Maybe in a minute or so you speak more than 100 words. Why it happens that way? Because in that anger, flow of words comes in. That's why sometimes we say, right? When we are angry, we don't know what we are speaking. Because that emotion, things come out. So it seems that Vegavati, in speed she flows in. That's how river Vegavati flows even till date in Kanchipuram. So this is the story of river Vegavati. So near this Vegavati river, goddess Parvati, she was doing penance under the mango tree. Now, as usual, testing times come for all of us. Shiva, what he does is he sets fire in the outskirts, that is in the nearby areas where Parvati was doing tapasya, he sets fire around that. Now, goddess Parvati, what she does is suddenly seeing fire, she prays to her brother Vishnu for help. At that time, what happens is Vishnu, what he does is he takes the moon from top of Shiva's head and he showed the rays of the moon. It seems the moon has got cooling properties, or moon is considered to be a symbol of, you can say, coolness and beauty. So Lord Shiva, what he does is, sorry, Lord Vishnu, what he does is he picks up the Chandra from Vishnu's head, from Shiva's head, and he shows the cool rays on the fire. Automatically things cool down. So the tree, that is a mango tree, as well as Parvati Devi, things that were set on fire, automatically the fire cools down. This time now Shiva, he saw this. Again he sent river Ganga. Same full of flow, he sends river Ganga in order to disturb Parvati's tapasya. Now why such things were being done? You might be wondering, right? Parvati is doing penance sincerely. Still, why Shiva is purposely causing trouble? Now, all these instances that are there, they are significant to what happens in our lives. So, all these stories that we are reading, meet in our Purana scriptures and so on, or all these Thala Puranic stories, that is, stories behind temples, legends, we must not just claim it to be false, but somewhat relate it to our lives. So, how you relate it is just as now we also wish to do something good, right? But it's not that always everything goes about smoothly. If I have to tell you something about these temples today, I pray that things should go about smoothly when you feel okay. Whatever you're expecting to listen about, that should go about in 1 hour, right? Or whatever we do, be it something, though you have a good motive of doing things, till the thing is done, we cannot be sure, right? And so many problems, hurdles coming. But we are all just testing times. We have to face over all that and come out. So through these legends, also, this is a lesson that we get, and that's the reason why you have such, even in our stories also, you have, even if people are doing something good, you have a lot of troubles that come in. Let's not call it as troubles; they are testing times, so that we are prepared to face any situation. So the same thing happens here. Fire is set about by Shiva. Somehow Vishnu comes to Parvati's help. Now Shiva tells Ganga that you flow with full force. And at that time, Parvati, what happens is, Parvati is Himagiri Tanaye. Himagiri Tanaye, the daughter of Himavan. Ganga is also the daughter of Himavan, Himalayas. Sorry. So Parvati, she tells Ganga that we are actually sisters. How can you come and disturb me? Please go back. Ultimately, what happens is Ganga listens, yes, Parvati is my sister, so I should not disturb her. Ganga goes back. Now, Parvati, what happens is, Parvati at this time, what she does, she takes out mud, she takes out sand, earth nearby, and she makes a Shivalinga out of that. And here she starts worshipping. In order to get united with Shiva, she starts worshipping the Shivalinga made out of earth. And that's how the Lord who came to be under this mango tree is called Ekambareshwara, or Lord of the Mango Tree. This is how this name comes. Now, this is one story that is there. There is another legend. What is that another story is? It seems that the river Vegavati, which was flowing nearby, it overflowed, it seems. Like we had the a story of Ganga river flowing in. Similarly, this Vegavati river, it overflowed, it seems. And Shiva, when it overflowed, Parvati was she in now. If something happens, there is a dangerous situation. What will we do? We'll try to save ourselves, right? We'll not think about other things. But Parvati, what she does is she hugs the Shivalinga that she made out of sand very dearly, very closely, so that the Shivalinga should not flow away. First of all, it is made of mud, so immediately it can flow away. So she hugs it very tightly. Looking at this gesture, Shiva was pleased, or Shiva was moved by her devotion, and he comes and he marries her. So this is one more significance how Lord Shiva and Parvati they get united with each other. So these are two stories of this Ekambareshwara Linga. This one of the again coming back to the history of this temple. You have a temple for Lord Subramanya who's there. You have a lot of contributions made by the Vijayanagara kings. So when we say Vijayanagara kings, that today's current, maybe now in those times when temples were constructed, it used to be maybe under a very small area, not much done for the administration or for all the sculptural part, architecture part, but a lot of funding and things were made by the Vijayanagara kings. So the today's current structure is a very good structure. A lot of good things were used for building the temple, temple pillars and so on. A lot of renovations being done. Then you have the main temple, or you can say the southern entrance door, that is called the Rajagopura. Even today, if you go to Kanchipuram, even from a very far off distance, you can make out this Gopuram. Has anyone visited this temple? You'll know, right? Yeah. So you know the way, even from a far off distance, if you look at the temple, it is the Gopuram is visible. Correct, correct. So why that have that's the reason why those gopurams were built on top, saying that even if you have to you don't have to put in efforts even to come very close to a temple, even if you don't want to visit a temple, let's not say don't want to, maybe we we cannot due to some reasons, or it is not being possible, at least from far off, to at least look at the gopuram, that is also equal to having attaining good karmas, being free from sin, attaining punya, and so on. So this is a story of Ekambareshwara temple. As I told you, the main thing that is performed here, the main festival is you have the Pangani Uttiram festival, and you have other. the festivals like the Shivaratri and so on that is carried about, other festivals in praise of Lord Shiva. But mainly you have the Kalyanotsava, that is the marriage ceremony of Shiva and Parvati during the months of Panguni Uttara. And every you have like how we have the Rathotsava and so on in the other temples. Similarly, you have different Vahanas. The main Vahana is the Nandi Vahanam of Lord Shiva, and that is you have a 10 days this utsava that takes place in this Panguni month. And it seems that during the fifth day, Lord Ekambareshwara, he rides on Nandi, that is Nandi Vahanam on the fifth day. And in the evening, it seems that you have Ravaneshwara Vahanam. So this is a very significant thing. Ravaneshwara, Lord Ravana. Now, why Ravaneshwara's Vahanam is because Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He has composed the most famous Shivatandava Stotram that we have composed. That we too chant and read till date. जटाटवी गलज्जल प्रवाह पाविकस्तने जले लम्बलम्बिताम्बुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिका डमड्डमड्डमड्डमन्निनादवड्डमर्वयं चकारचण्डताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवम्. Is everyone aware of this? Some of us we had learned. Yes, Ravana Kritam Shivatandava Stotram. Those who don't know, many of us we would have heard about it, but others also you should try to learn it. A very beautiful composition, not only because it is composed in place of Lord Shiva or a religious piece of literature, also the words that are used, and if you can learn, if you can chant the Shivatandava Stotram, there is nothing else which will become difficult or you can say very tough to learn. The words that are there, like they are all like tongue twisters. And by chanting, you can say by reciting these words, we don't have all these speech problems or even lung issues that come in. Sometimes we have breathing problems and so on. That will not come, especially for this Shiva Tandava Sutra or Raghuvira Vadyam and so on. Sanskrit is used, no doubt words are used. Why that is used is whenever we chant something or recite something in Sanskrit, even if you look at the Sanskrit Varnamala, that is there, each of the letters are like, for example, the Ka Varga, Cha Varga. Ka Varga, they are Kanthyas, from the throat we pronounce. Then Cha Varga, we use the mouth. Ta, Ta, Pa, so the entire mouth is used. Then we have Mahaprana, Mahaprana, Visarga, Ha, and so on. Some sound should come right from the stomach. So you see, lot of air gushes in, lot of oxygen we take in, we pour out. For example, when we chant certain letters like sh and so on, sh automatically air gushes out, right? But whereas you pronounce a normal sh, nothing comes out. So when you say that sh, you are putting an effort. We don't have to spit out on people nearby. But so here, when you see, whenever you chant something in Sanskrit, our entire right from the mouth organ, starting from the mouth, your nose, chest till the stomach, abdomen that is there, is everything is fresh, and that's why people in earlier times used to encourage that you keep chanting a lot of things. Why? But then now you might have a doubt. Why only religious literature? I'm not a believer in God. I don't want to chant something. It's my choice. Religion was associated so that at least now if simply I tell you no, every day you read few pages in Sanskrit, it's okay. Forget it. Who will do it? We just take it lightly, right? But like in Amar Kosha class also, I think last time I was studying. So coming back, so the point is, whereas when religion is associated with something, immediately people do, at least Bharatiyas will do it, right? No, no. Okay. Whatever I do, it is like one game. I chant, it will also be devotion or something. I show some bhakti at the same time, I'm doing it for my own good also. It is for maybe chanting and health, our entire body, the mouth organs, and so on. They're well developed. Speech. In fact, you have all these speech therapies and so on, right? Sometimes small children, especially, they cannot, their speech is not clear. Or elders also, some people face these stammering issues and so on. Sanskrit shlokas, if you chant, it will go away. You don't have some no rocket science behind this. A very simple thing. We use all our body organs automatically when we have to pronounce certain letters. You have to put in efforts. So the same thing. We have to put in efforts. So automatically our speech gets refined properly. That's why young children, especially, they are taught certain shlokas also. This was one more reason why, as youngsters now, few of us, as young children, you might remember certain shlokas, right? Something which our parents or grandparents would have taught us. At that time, we didn't know why we were chanting that, but maybe till date you know those shlokas by heart. Maybe till date also you're chanting that. Or even if you don't chant that every day, you remember. One was religion also, to inculcate religion bhakti in children. That was one thing. Second was, this was one more reason, so that speech of kids improves. And why religious literature was introduced is when religion is brought into picture, people do it immediately. That's why most of our parents or elders, when we didn't do something in our childhood, they tell, right? God will come and punish you, he'll come and poke your eyes. At that time, maybe in today's times, you tell the child, it will not listen, but at least most of us here, we did the same thing. Oh, will it really happen? Will my eyes come and be poked or so? In that fear, we do things, right? So the same thing. That's why religious literature was associated. So the point is, Shivatandava Stotra, Amar Kosha certain portions, Raghuvira Gadyam, such shlokas if you see. Raghuvira Gadyam is quite similar to the, uh, what do you say, the breathless songs. Has anyone listened to that? I don't know if there are any youngsters. Breathless songs. Anyone has listened to that? Ah, yeah. So you would have, if you listen to such songs or so by Shankar Mahadevan or whoever it is, they sing in one breath, right? We feel that only that is something which is amazing. The same thing is nothing but Raghuveera Gadyam. If you try for yourself, that is also a form of breathless only. It's not a song, it's a Gadyam. That's it. So there are many things which are there in our literature. So we must look at things with not only a very religious perspective, bhakti that is there, but a lot of science and motive. Why our elders told us to do something has got a lot of science behind it. Maybe directly they did not tell you then that your speech will improve, your voice, this, that will improve, and so on. But then there was surely some science and meaning behind things that we did. So again, coming back, Ravaneshwara is a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He has composed a very famous Shivatandava Stotram. He was a great scholar of Sanskrit. If you go through the text, you will know that the words that he has used. That's why people we find it tough, right, while chanting. So that's you have the Ravaneshwara Vahanam also on the fifth day of the Rathotsava that takes place. And on the last day, you have the Kalyanotsava of the Lord, wherein the Lord Ekamreshwara and Parvati they marry each other. And it is like certain places where we go, unmarried people or for people whom marriage is not taking place, they also come and visit this temple and they get married and so on. So this is about the fifth linga that is a Pancha Prithvi Lingam of Ekambareshwara. Okay, could everyone follow this? Yes. The last is Chidambareshwara temple, Nataraja. It's in Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu. Now, Chidambara temple, if you see, it is Akasha Lingam. Akasha is nothing but space. Don't term it as sky. Space. Now, between all things that are there, there is some space or something called vacuum, right? Which is very much needed. Now, you have a bag, you close it, or forget about bag. You have chips, right? Chips packet that we eat. There is little, whenever you open that, more than the chips, you have air that gushes out. That is very much needed in order to fill in something, space. Or even today, also, we have something called space that is there, vacuum, which is there between things. Even now, if you're sitting on the floor, also, if you see, little distance is always there, right? Our entire, in yoga asanas, also, they will tell you that try to touch your knees on the floor and so on. But it becomes very difficult. You fold your legs and sit. So, the point I'm telling you is in whatever we do, there is some space or vacuum. Even in conversational language, when we speak, I need my space, we say. What is that space? That is mental space. No, don't indulge too much into me, you give me my space that is there. So even in things also or in physical aspects we need some vacuum or some space, akasha element, that is represented by this Chidambareshwara temple. There's nothing but emptiness, that is sometimes we have to be empty. So this akasha lingam, that it is also, if you think deeply on this, it signifies the space that we need in our lives or the space that we must give in other people's lives also. All this I'm not making. There's a lot of philosophy behind all this. Yes, emptiness is also completeness. That is what the Shivalinga here it depicts. But at the same time, it tries to tell completeness when it is achieved is, we have something in philosophy called Atma, right? Atma, or to know about oneself. And to know about oneself, we cannot just always keep depending on people and maybe be along with things around. Sometimes we have to be ourselves. Now, when you have to think something or when you have to take some decisions or so, we might ask for people, but there is a time wherein we think for ourselves also, right? You just leave me alone, I want to think for some time. So thinking or introspecting, as we call, all that is also represented by this space element when we think very deep. Okay, so coming back for the Chidambareshwara temple, here to represent space, you don't have a physical Shivalinga as such. You have only space that is there, that is just a manifestation. Okay. Now Chidambareshwara temple, as usual, it is located in Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu. It represents Nataraja, the Lord of Dance. That's the reason why most of our dancers or people who learn Bharatnatyam form of dance or traditional form of dance, they will visit this Chidambaram temple at least once in a lifetime. You have a lot of dance programs taking place like the Arangetram and so on. People wait for an opportunity so that they can do it in this temple premises or somewhere nearby. Now, here, the river that flows nearby is the Vellar river, and from this river, now why this river is mentioned is for all the puja purposes and so on. Water is used from this river. Now, this place, if you are this town, it is actually the Kudalur district in Tamil Nadu. So it was again ruled by a lot of dynasties like the Cholas, Pandyas, and so on. Also the Vijayanagara temple, and this temple, if you see, it is also visited by the Tanjavur kings, like how we have the Tanjavur royal family. Like that, even the Tanjavur kings have also contributed a lot. Now, when we say Tanjavur, it is actually also the domain of Marathas. Marathas, you have the reference of Shivaji Maharaj, Sambhaji Maharaj going there. That's why even till date, if you see, a few people who are native, though they live in Tanjavur, they actually belong to the Maratha family. So I don't I don't know whether they speak the Marathi language there. It might be only Tamil because the nearby areas is so. But then you have influence of Maratha Empire even in South India today. That is in the Tanjavur district. Okay, they might be knowing. I don't know whether they speak. They are different dialect. Correct. Correct. So they are also actually Marathas who are there. Next is you have, so again this place was ruled by the Tanjavur people who were the original inhabitants. Then you have it was ruled by the Marathas, it was ruled by the British, it was ruled by the Cholas, Pandyas, Vijayanagara Empire. So Chidambaram, this place has been ruled by different people, and it is also one of the, you can say, a huge temple area like the Ekambareshwara temple. Famously, we call it as a Tillai Nataraja, right? And mainly why Tillai we call is this town, if you see, was surrounded by a lot of mangroves. So Tillai is actually mangrove forests. Tillai trees, they are nothing but mangroves. If you see, they will not grow very tall as such. So it will be like a, you can consider like bushes also. It's not exactly bushes. Mangrove forest, if you see, they'll not actually be very tall. So those trees are called Tillai trees. So this place was actually having a lot of mangrove forests nearby. Chit Ambaram. Chit Ambaram. Ambaram is actually atmosphere or space. Chit is highest form, or you can say wisdom. So a very wise atmosphere, or a, what you can say, a very superior kind of an environment. There is nothing but this Chidambaram. Now the forest, sorry, the story that goes behind this, the legend is the Tillai forests. They actually, the group of forests, the mangrove forests, they had a group of sages who lived there. And what used to happen is these sages, they used to believe in magic. So now it's not wrong to believe in magic, but even now, all of us also, if we have, you can say, now when we do some worship also, we normal worship we do, right? We offer flowers or we do some Naivedyam, we chant some prayers. This is our way of worship. But there are certain people, maybe black magic, or they'll throw a lot of bhasma here and there, or through their hands they chant some mantra, something comes about. So there, let's, we should not just call it as false. There might be some science behind it. Of course, we have a lot of fraud cases also. But usually, if you see, most of us we don't believe in such. Most of you can say people who follow Sanatana Dharma, though black magic and things are being followed by a small, you can say, small population. In general, we don't believe or we don't follow such things. But these sages who are there, they believed in this supremacy and they of magic that is there, and they felt that lot of things can be bought under our control. That is, the Lord Himself can be bought under our control by doing all these magical rituals, mantras, and so on. So Shiva, when he came to know about this, it seems that he assumed the form of a Bhikshatana. Bhikshatana is nothing but like a mendicant. He assumed this form and he went walking about in this Tillai forest. And he was followed by Vishnu in the form of Mohini. So his consort Mohini. And the sages and their wives, it seems that looking at the beauty of Mohini, they were enchanted, they got attracted towards her. And the woman folk, what happened is that is the sages' wives, they felt attracted towards this beauty. Wow, such a beautiful woman has come. So a very simple thing, right? Like a group of ladies, if we sit together, we see some other lady, maybe she's dressed up very well, she looks very beautiful. Automatically a conversation will start, right? Amongst in the group. Look at her, she looks so good, look at her, maybe her dress, the ornaments that she wears, this, that. Automatically that conversation starts. So the sages' wives also they were indulged in this. And sages looking at this, they felt very angry. That is, how come all these women they are just looking at someone and they are enchanted? So it seems that they got very angry, and because they believed in magic also, they knew the ways of chanting mantras which will give some magical results. So they, it seems that they did a ritual and they created a lot of nagas, that is, a lot of serpents. And Shiva, what he did is when he, so in order to, you can say, attack their wives. So Shiva, when he saw this, he lifted all those nagas also and he put it as his ornaments. So Shiva, we know he has Vasuki around his neck. So all serpents here and there, he put it on his jata here, everywhere he, like his ornaments on his neck, on his waist, everywhere he put all those ornaments. Now the sages got more angry. What they did is they bought a tiger from somewhere and they set out the tiger. When this tiger came, what happened is Shiva used it as a shawl, it seems, around his waist, put the tiger skin around his shawl. Then what happened is an elephant was bought. Shiva killed the elephant, and this episode is called the Gajasura Samharam. Gajavastram. Shiva wears a Gajavastram. This reference also comes in the Kumara Sambhavam written by Kalidasa. So the story and the marriage of Shiva and Parvati, and ultimately the birth of Kartikeya. That is the story of Kumara Sambhavam written by Kalidasa. So you have this one more story, Gajasura Samharam, wherein elephant also was killed by Shiva. Now the sages said that they had a doubt on their own powers that they had, and they gathered all their strength, all their powers together, and they invoked a powerful demon, it seems, Muyalakana. His name was Muyalakana. Muyalakana meaning it is actually full arrogance and ignorance, one who symbolizes arrogance and ignorance. And here now Shiva said, I have killed a tiger, I've killed an elephant, I have all the serpents who came, I have taken them under their control. Now I have to fight with this demon. So here what he does is he stepped on the demon's back, it seems, and he performed the Tandava Nritya. That's the reason why, even if you can see in the picture, this demon who is there is this Muilakana. This, if you can see in the picture, Nataraja, he dances on a demon. He did the Ananda Tandavam, it seems. That is the dance of happiness. So that's the reason why when we dance or when we see someone dancing, a traditional form, usually Bharatnatyam and so on, we feel happy, right? Or it seems that all our ignorance, arrogance, and things like that go away, it seems, when this dance is performed. Ultimately, now the sages surrender and they realize that simply rituals also cannot control the gods. That is, doing some magical formulas here and there, bringing a demon from somewhere, bringing a tiger, bringing an elephant. It cannot control the gods. It has to surely have some significance. We cannot just through magical rituals or so, somewhere I bring something out of air, I'll bring something. We cannot control the gods in this way. This is never going to happen. Sages realize this and they surrender to the Lord. This is how, in the Tillai forest, Lord Nataraja, he emerges in the dancing form on the back of the demon, and that's how the Lord is worshipped. Ah, someone was saying something. Ah, Geetu.
What is the name of the Ashura again?
What is the name of? Demon. Acha, Muyalakana. Muyalakan. Muyalakan. Okay. Yeah. Then, so this is the legend of the story. As usual, this temple has got a lot of reference in the Sangam literature, that is Tamil literature, by the different Nayanars, the most famous being Sundara Nayanar or Sundaramurti Nayanar. Nayanars are again disciples, or you can say Shiva, Shaivite saints. They have also written a lot about this temple. Then This Chidambaram, if you see, it is a place wherein mainly it is known for a lot of inscriptions also. Inscriptions, or you can say this historical researchers who come there, sometimes they will go to this place because you have a lot of inscriptions of various kings like the Pallavas and so on. So you can see that in these places, Cholas, Pallavas. So Chidambaram temple is also known for these geographic, this historical aspects. Now, the main temple is of Lord Nataraja, and the goddess here, goddess Parvati, is called Shivakami. Shivakami. There are different shrines for Lord Ganesha, Kartikeya, Vishnu, and so on. Vishnu in the form of Govindaraja, Govindaraja Perumal, as we call in Sangam literature. Same is used here in the form of Govindaraja. Then a lot of things like you can say the shlokas or the songs, or you can say any piece of literature that has been composed by few of these Sambandanayanars and so on, Sambandar, or like I told you, Sundaramurti Nayanas, they are all carved, it seems, in in metal plates also, and that has been kept inside the vicinity of the temple. I don't know if till date all such things are present, but I have not visited this temple. But it seems that the temple, so as I told you, a lot of inscriptions, architecture, the temple is known mainly for doing a lot of research, and whatever people have written here, be it Nayanars or some kings have made some contributions, all that has been present till date, it has been kept in. The main festival that is celebrated here is now the festival starts in, that is the Margazhi festival, month of Margai, Margashirsha, wherein you have the Tiruvadrai, the Ardra Nakshatra falling in the month of Margadi. So on this day, you have the main festival that is celebrated, again the Rathotsava, things like that, and also other festivals that are there. Mainly, you have a festival. The one more prominent festival is the Natyanjali festival. Natyanjali festival is when dancers from all over the world, or you can say all over Bharata Desha, I think roughly it is there in the month of February or so. People they come there and they the main offering that is done is through dance to Lord Nataraja. So Lord Nataraja, who symbolizes dance, so you have this Natyanjali festival here. Dancers from all over Bharatadesha and also from other countries, they too come here and they perform dance. Other countries, it will be Bharatiyas only. So mainly you have dancers who come, and dance is considered as an offering to Lord Nataraja. So this is the fifth Panchabhuta Sthanam, which represents the Akasha Lingam. Okay. Could everyone follow this? Yes. So to conclude, we have Panchabhutastanam. First is Jambukeshwara, water element. Second was Kalahastishwara, Agni. Kalahastishwara, Vayu. Arunachaleshwara, Agni. Ekambareshwara, Bhuta, that is earth. And Chidambareshwara is space or Akashalingam. These are the Panchabhuta Stalas. Why are they geographically aligned? For this also there is a significance. Let's look at that. Geographically aligned, if you see, I don't know if that latitude is shown. Yes. You can see. Correct. Ujjain. Ujjain. It will be passing through Ujjain. I have visited only two, Ekambareshwara and Arunachaleshwara. Two. Yeah. So, yes, as she rightly said, it passes through Ujjain. Ujjain, today, if you see the time that we follow is we have something called the Greenwich Meridian time, right? That is what we follow today. But it seems that Bharata Desha, we have the equator passing through Bharata, right? That is the main, so you can say the central part of Bharata. Ujjain Mahakaleshwara was actually a point of time that was there, or that was just as today we consider the Greenwich Meridian time. Ujjain was actually considered to be a, you can say, the source of time, how time is calculated, and so on. But unfortunately, it never went ahead. Later, we'll see how Ujjain is a point of time. I don't know whether, I think here also it will be there, the mention will be there. Separately, we'll see that. So, these Panchamahabhutas, they align in the same line, they are there in the same latitude. If you see the latitude, longitude is given, and in between, you have Ujjain Mahakaleshwara. So, Ujjain Mahakaleshwara, Mahakala, as we have the Lord of Death, Lord of Time. So, Mahakaleshwara Linga was actually a source of time, how time used to be calculated everywhere. So that's the reason why if you see now Bharata Desha entirely, it has only one time. Now if it is here, if now if it is 9:40, entire Bharata Desha will have 9:40 only. But the sunrise and sunset times that are there, it's quite different, right? If you go to east, that is there. Like if you go to Arunachal Pradesh or so on, maybe the sunrise is there quite early, and the sun sets also fast. So the time periods actually does not match as such. If you, I don't know if anyone has gone to the eastern parts. If you go to Calcutta and so on, I think sunrise happens very early, right? 4 4. Anyone has visited eastern parts? Yeah, so if you see there, the sun rises very early, right? But as you go to, yeah, so it is like actually, and by evening time, maybe it's just not even 5 or so, but then the sun has set, things have become dark. So it actually becomes very difficult for people to live in. Maybe for all of us, we are in the central part or in South India or so, such things don't matter for us. But then maybe now those people who live there, they're used to that. But then you see, morning 4 o'clock, the sun rises up. We are not used to that, right? For us, it is just, it has to be dark. We might get up at 4 in the morning, but it is still dark for us. But then still the time and everything that they go for work will be 9 only. By the time they return back or they are still at work, it is almost late night for them. So that's why sometimes, or there have been some people who have proposed that even Bharata Desha should have different time zones that are there. Like like if you go to certain places like in the US also. So you have different time zones, right? If it is 9 here, it will become 10 there and so on. So like this. Of course, that depends on the place. So things depend on the sunrise and sunset. But Bharatadesha as such does not have that because we don't follow the Ujjain Mahakaleshwara time. We follow the Greenwich meridian time that is there. So like this, there have been proposals that have made. So the point is Mahakaleshwara is considered to be a symbol of time period. It was there, which was there in ancient Bharatadesha. But of course, we didn't stick to that, and that's how we follow something else today. If you look at this, this ads coming in, just wait. Now, why these Panchabhuta Stalas are aligned in one matter is one is the astronomical aspect, as you know, the time period that I told you, and the latitude, longitude. So, the geographical aspect is there, and also as per Ayurveda Shastra. What is Ayurveda Shastra? Was Pancha Mahabhutas in our body also, Pancha Mahabhutas should always be in order. Agni Tattvam, water. Water should always be there. That's the reason why we have to drink certain amount of water. Agni, we have gastric juices. If Agni is disturbed, we have problems like acidity and so on, right? Space, there is always space between things that we do. Like I told you, between our fingers there should be space everywhere inside our internal organs also. That's why sometimes when you eat full, my stomach is full, we say, right? Till my mouth I have eaten, I don't have space to breathe. You have to leave some space empty. That's why in Ayurveda Shastram, it is said that when your stomach is half full, you should stop eating. Even if you feel hungry, it's okay, but you should stop eating because that little space is needed for digestion. Or why people even consume food, we have something called early dinner and so on, right? Why people do that? It's for this reason, because at night time it becomes difficult for food to digest. Therefore, people will consume things little early. So a lot of this Pancha Mahabhutas actually represent the Pancha, this Pancha Mahabhuta Stalas actually represent the Panchabhutas which are there inside our body. So that is one more reason why you have the Ayurvedic aspect that has been mentioned here. Ujjain Mahakaleshwara, it is the Adhipati of time and death. That's why it is only Dakshinamukhi Shivalinga. Nothing else should be Dakshinamukhi. That's why when a person dies also, southwards we keep the body, right? So that's why we don't sleep usually in that direction. Correct. So Ujjain Mahakaleshwara, then you can see how Kalahastishwara, Arunachaleshwara, Ekambareshwara, Chidambareshwara, and Jambukeshwara. This is how the placement is done. Surya Siddhantam, as I told you about the meridian that is there. Surya Siddhanta is written by whom? Anyone knows? No? Surya Siddhanta, some people say that it is written by Aryabhatta. Some people say that it is written by one of his disciples. I think his name should be Latadeva or someone like that. But usually Surya Siddhanta, we give it to Aryabhatta. But his disciple has contributed it more. So it talks about lot about geography and so on. Rakshasalaya devaukaha shailayor madhyasutragaha rohita kamavanti cha yata sannihitam salaha. Meaning, you have the meaning in Sanskrit also. In English, a simple explanation is given is so Rakshasalaya and Devatalaya. Now, Rakshasalaya, usually south when things go about, that is considered to be whenever something falls south, that means it is loss. And whenever falls something north, whenever something goes up, it is always be Devatalaya. That's why Swarga is up, north is up, south is down. Swarga is up, hell is down. So everything, what this reference again, you get it in the Sundarakandam, wherein Trijata, in her dream, she gets a dream that Ravana death, or you can say Ravana's downfall is near, and Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana, they're going to attain huge heights. So at that time, she makes this reference that in Dakshina Disha, Ravana is going to fall. The meaning is Ravana is going to loom down, or in Dakshina Disha, he is going to fall down. What it ultimately means is it is going to result in his loss very soon, or in his death very soon. It's not only limited to death, it can also be loss. That's the reason why even in the markets that we study, right, stock markets and shares and so on, we have said, right, the market is northwards or it is southwards today. Maybe in the current scenario you can say it is northwards, but maybe after a few days or so, when it falls southwards, people will know. Now people are very happy when it is northwards, right? So the point is, that's why even in the terms that we use, that's why here you have this term for south pole, but falling southwards is Rakshasalaya and north pole is Devatalaya. So just for your reference, you can note these things. Madhya Sutragaha is nothing but the main prime meridian that passes through this point, and it passes through the cities of Avanti, Ujjain, and Rohitaka, Rohtak. So mainly it is said to be Ujjain. Why Ujjain? Like I told you, you can see the prime meridian of Bharat. So here we have the equator passing about. We consider the Greenwich Meridian time of ancient Bharatadesha. You have this Ujjain Mahakaleshwara. So if you see, it is actually the same thing, the same part wherein you have Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and between you have the equator also. So this is the main Ujjain Mahakaleshwara, which is the prime meridian of Bharata. Though we don't accept it much, we do still follow the Greenwich meridian time only. But it was also there in Bharatadesha. So with this, we know how Bharatadesha and how the alignment of temples, how the construction of temples, how the Panchabhuta Sthalas, whatever construction has been made in a very, you can say, very thoughtful manner. So this is a very interesting aspect of Ujjain Mahakaleshwara and the Panchabhuta Sthalas. So with this topic of Panchabhuta Sthalas comes to an end. Okay, could everyone follow this? Yes. So the least that we can do is at least visit all these Panchabhuta Sthalas once in a lifetime, and go and visit how these places are constructed and so on. Okay, so let's stop here. Let's start with the next topic. We have 10 minutes, but at least let us start. Now, the next topic that is there is we go to the Mahabharata. Share my screen. Mahabharata as an epic, we will look at it. And mainly in this, we talk about the Mahabharata. If you see why Mahabharata has to be studied, the main is it has got a lot of aspects. One is more than 1 lakh verses. More than that, it has got a lot of contributions that it has made in different fields. Like you have the Pancharatnani that we say, the Gita, Upadesha by Krishna to Arjuna. Then Vidura Niti, the principles of Vidura that have been told. Then Yaksha Prashnam, the conversation between Yaksha and Yudhishthira. Then Vishnu Sahasranama, Bhishmacharya telling 1,000 names of Vishnu. Sanat Sujatiyam, then Rudra Gita, sorry, not Rudra Gita, Shiva Sahasranama, and so on. So, like this, you have different aspects that are being covered in the Mahabharata. At the same time, Mahabharata also covers a very significant topic, that is statecraft. Statecraft is nothing but how a king should behave with the society, how the king should fight a war, how administration should take place. This has also been highlighted in the Mahabharata, and this is our next topic. We are going to study the statecraft that has been mentioned significantly in the Mahabharata. Now, why this has to be mentioned is the Mahabharata Yuddham that took place in a span of 18 days had a lot. In fact, when we looked at the topic of Dhanurvedam, you would have noticed that there was a lot of science right behind how each of the chakra vyuha that was made and so on. So surely the warriors and the kshatriyas they would have studied a lot about statecraft, right? How a war should be waged, how attacks should be made, and so on. So statecraft is a very very significant topic, and that's why even till date we say the yuddham that took place. The name of Mahabharata also Jayaha, victory, Vijayaha, great victory, Bharatam, Bharatadesha only was known by this war and Mahabharata, a great war. So that's how the great, you can say the great war that took place in Bharatadesha, that's how the epic even got the name as Mahabharata. Or Bharata Yuddham when we say, or the Kurukshetra Yuddham, very great war. Even it has even surpassed all the world wars that have taken place. The way the war took place, the ammunition that was there, the planning that took place, and so on. So a lot of statecraft is there in the Mahabharata Yuddham. So Mahabharata, just as you can see in the introductory slide, it has been shown through different epics, different Puranas. Mahabharata itself referenced in other Puranas also. Then by through the Gita, it has contributed, and also in a few movies also. I think here it is the Bahubali poster, or you have other serials and so on, which also talk about the story of Mahabharata. So it is very much prevalent till date. Then this even this Bodha Vakyam, Satyameva Jayate, that we have for our constitution that has also been taken from the Mahabharata. That has also been taken from the Mahabharata. So a lot of contributions are made by Mahabharata. Till date, we study about that. Now, the main statecraft. What exactly is the meaning of statecraft that has been told in Mahabharatam? Let's have a look. Five aspects mainly. Duties of a king. So here, if you see in the Mahabharata, in many instances, Yudhishthira was advised on this statecraft by Narada, by Bhishmacharya, by Krishna, and so on. So, how a war should be waged, how what are the things that you have to do to take care of your subjects, what are the duties of a king? That is one thing. Then, only duties of the king is not enough. The responsibilities of people is also very, very important. How people should be responsible, how people should live, what should be their attitude in a kingdom, that has been mentioned. Public policy making. Certain policies are taken, right? We have now in today's times, if you can relate, we have certain schemes that are taken. How far they benefit the public, that's the other side of the picture. But we have certain schemes that are told by or they're made by the government for the welfare of the public. Then public welfare and administration. We need public amenities and facilities that are to be made depending on the area where we lived in. What is needed for the public, what facilities should be provided, that should be studied by the king properly. Then creation of certain laws. If you live in a kingdom, there should be certain laws that are to be enforced. So having a correct idea of the laws is very very important. So all this is a part of statecraft in Mahabharata. Now mainly there have been four people who talked about statecraft. Who are they? First is Narada. As I told you, Narada has advised statecraft to Yudhishthira. Vidura, Vidura was here. Vidura's picture seems to be like a sage, but he's actually, let's not consider it exactly a sage, even the younger brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu, a very learned man, a scholar. He has talked about the principles of statecraft to Dhritarashtra. Bhishmacharya again explains to Yudhishthira, and Krishna in general he tells Arjuna, and it seems that the state Gita is different. Gita is one part. Apart from that, statecraft is also explained by Krishna to Arjuna. Some principles, of course, they can match with the Gita, but specifically also Krishna has talked about statecraft. So these are the main people who have talked about how kings should live and what are their duties and so on in the Mahabharata. So let's start looking at each one of this. At least let us look at Narada today. Now, an introduction of Narada. Now that comes, now Mahabharata as we know it is divided into 18 parvas. Out of that in the Sabha Parva, you have the description of Narada or the knowledge of Narada. Tammagatam Risham. Now don't look at this text properly. There are a lot of errors in this. Tam Ma should have a halanta, agatam, again ma should have a halanta. Tamagatam rishim drishtva naradam sarvadharmavid ta halanta सहसा पाण्डवश्रेष्ठः परत्युत्थायानुजैः सह अभ्यवादयत् परीत्या यत् again हलन्त विनयावनतः सदा स हलन्त. So if you have the shlokas that are there, here only one or two lines are highlighted. First to seven shlokas from the fifth chapter of the Sabha Parv talks about this, wherein Maharshi Narada he enters the Pandava Sabha, which was headed by Yudhishthira, and here he talks about statecraft, but he was one who has good knowledge of the Vedas, Upanishads, Nyaya Shastras, Vedangas, Sankhya, Yoga, and so on. So, if you see why this has been told is usually if you see in our maybe movies or TV serials and so on, Narada at times is depicted as a very funny or comedy character, but it is not at all so. Narada is Brahmarishi, Devarishi. So a rishi who is equal to gods himself has got a lot of knowledge, and he was the one who guided. In fact, even in the Ramayana that was to be written, you had Valmiki. He was the one when Valmiki questioned you, talk to me about a person who has got these 16 qualities. Narada only describes about Rama, right? So Narada is a great person, and he was the one who first talked about statecraft. That was it. So what exactly he talked about? Let's have a look. So these were few principles. Now we are just looking at the introductory part, right? If you want to read in detail, you have to look at the original Mahabharata only. But just to give us, you can say, a brief idea. Firstly, he says that as a king, he advises Yudhishthira, you think how you have to spend your resources. If you have a lot of money, say for example, you have so and so money in your treasury, you should know where you should spend, right? If maybe people now, whatever land is there under your kingdom, you know a certain chunk of population is doing quite good or certain facilities are already there, still you keep spending on the same aspects, it's of no use. Instead of that, you work on those areas which need improvement where actually you have to spend more. So know where you have to spend resources wisely. At the same time, don't waste your resources. Use it in the right way. Don't overuse the resources. Next is just to have a lot of wealth like the Kauravas did, and ultimately which resulted in their loss. Or maybe characters like Ravana, they had a lot of wealth, still they want more and more wealth. For that, he had to compromise, he had to move on the path of adharma, he had to compromise on ethics and morals. Narada says, don't ever do that. Just for attaining more wealth or so, be happy with what you have. You don't have to compromise on your principles for obtaining wealth. Six is six highly important qualities. What are these six qualities? I'll tell you. We need some time to discuss on that. I'll tell you next time on detail. Next is you know the strengths and weakness of your kingdom. Know where you're strong, know where you're weak, know the right warriors in your enemies so that accordingly you can work. Maybe there will be a person like Arjuna or so, he's a great archer. So you know now instead of that, if you send no, I'll send Bhima there. Bhima is a great Gadha, right? He can use the mace. So you should know the strength of your own army. Okay, if there is someone who's fighting with an bow and arrow, I will send Arjuna there. No use of sending Bhima. It's not that Bhima doesn't know to use an arrow, but each one has got their own area of specialization. So if you send people accordingly, only then it will be beneficial. Okay, so like this, there are different aspects that have been told. Today time is up. We will stop here. We'll look about this topic next time in detail.